We would have talked about this more on Music Monday, but we didn't have a show this past Monday because I was traveling. But check it out. Here's Bloomberg does have his supporters, and here's one of them. Good old John Mellencamp. John Mellencamp. So John Mellencamp, his song, the "I Was Born in a Small Town," that song's been used in a Bloomberg ad. And here's what John Mellencamp tweets out: "The stakes are too high to nominate someone who can't beat Trump. People are ready for a change, and Mike Bloomberg is the right guy to do the job. He's done it before, and he'll do it again as president. Mike will." So here's what I responded: "The stakes are too high to nominate someone who can't beat Trump, so I'm getting behind whoever pays to use my insipid music." And by the way, check this out: 222 likes, 120 likes. I'm still a little bit behind him. But guys, I might be able to ratio John Mellencamp on this one. If you're on the Twitter and you don't mind giving me a little bit of love, I'm catching up to him. If you don't mind giving me a little bit of love, just saying. So John Mellencamp, big. Now look, I've never been a John Mellencamp fan. Now some of you guys, you're probably thinking, Ron, you're always way harder on musicians where you don't like their music and their politics are also horrible. Yeah, totally. Wouldn't you have that bias too? I can't stand U2's music. Bono's a neoliberal shill, and I like mentioning that because I can't stand their frickin' music. Mellencamp, same situation. I think that Mellencamp's biggest hits are at best Springsteen B-sides. Now, that's my opinion. It's a subjective opinion. I think John Mellencamp's songs, they're all insipid. I remember one time I was mistaking a Tom Petty song for a, I forget which one, but it was a Tom Petty. I found out later it was a Tom Petty song. And I was like, the only John Mellencamp song I kind of like is this song. And I found out later it was a Tom Petty tune. So like the joke I would do, like my favorite John Mellencamp song is a Tom Petty song. And if you like Mellencamp's music and you're like, wow, that's really disappointing, email me. And if you like Indiana Heartland rock and roll, I can give you a bunch of names that put Mellencamp to shame. First of all, check out Magnolia Electric Company and everything by Jason Molina. That includes Songs of Ohio. Check that out. You want Indiana bred Heartland rock and roll, check that stuff out. Check out Tim Carroll, guy named Tim Carroll. 2 R's, 2 L's. Really good Indiana Heartland rock and roll, better than John Mellencamp, which, by the way, I went to Indiana University. That's in Bloomington, Indiana. That's the town where John Mellencamp lives. That's a small town he's singing about. Which, by the way, first of all, I find it a little annoying that song is by Bloomington, is about, because here's the thing. Bloomington is like one of the more renowned college towns in the country. Bloomington, Indiana is a lot like Olympia, Washington, or Madison, Wisconsin, or Gainesville. You get the idea. It's not some really cookie cutter American pink houses. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not dissing on that at all. I'm just saying that's not what Bloomington is. Bloomington, some of the best Tibetan food in the country can be found in Bloomington, Indiana, because, the Indiana University was one of the first places to bring in some of the Tibetan monks. And a lot of them liked Bloomington, so they all came there to do their work. So my point is it's a very fascinating place. It's not just your typical, here's the pharmacy, here's the gas station, here's your mom and pop restaurant, and here's a bunch of little pink houses for you and me. So it's, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not dissing any place. I'm just saying, yeah, that's sort of a weird, yeah. So anyway, but Mellencamp loves his Bloomberg. John Mellencamp. And by the way, just for the record too, and I tweeted this out, again, I lived in the town that John Mellencamp lives in. I went to college there. I was there for 4 years. I did not meet one person that had an interaction with John Mellencamp that had a positive thing to say about it. Everyone would say he was arrogant. He was rude. He was just disrespectful to people. And I'm sure there's people who had positive experiences with him. I can't speak for everyone. I'm just saying in my 4 years, there'd be handfuls of people that had an interaction with him wherever. Nobody had a positive thing to say. Not one person. Nobody, in my experience, had a positive thing to say about the guy. No one. So there you go. And I know in interviews he kind of comes off as arrogant, and I can see it. I never met the guy. But a buddy of mine has a really funny story. A buddy of mine was working parking security for it was just like his student job. He was working parking security for a Indiana University football game, and somebody drove up and parked their truck blatantly illegally. And who got out of the truck? John Mellencamp. And my buddy, and by the way, my buddy was a big punk rocker like me, so he didn't give a hoot about John Mellencamp, nor should he. But he goes, "Sir, you have to move your truck." And the guy goes, "Oh, come on, man." And my buddy goes, "That's an illegal parking space, sir. You need to move that truck." And he's like, "I'm going to miss the game." And he's like, "Well, you need to move your truck." And the guy goes, "Do you know who I am?" And my friend goes, "Yeah, I don't care. You need to move your truck." And Mellencamp cursed and sputtered off, I don't know if he cursed, but he, kind of pouted off and moved his truck. So good for my buddy. And Mellencamp, wow. It's a dire time. It's a dire time. So we need to beat Trump. So I'll support whoever pays me to use my insipid, dumb music. Good job, John Mellencamp. You really care. You really care. This is such an important time. I'll support whoever cuts me a check.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your